Hello everyone, this is Michael Murphy with the New Structure Ministries in Louisiana with Prophetic Update. Today is January 4th and I have a quick word of the Lord for you. A couple of things the Lord dropped in my spirit. Today's January 4th, so we're in a very important time frame right now, and the Lord has this all figured out. He's not sitting up there wondering what's going on. He knows what's happening and He's doing all this for a purpose. The delay is for a purpose, but right now what's fixing to happen is the Red Sea is fixing to split, and what that means is that we're going to see which Republicans are truly on the side of God's anointed. And it's not about a man being better than another man, it's about who God has chosen. You know, when David was anointed king, God chose David, not because he was perfect. It was just God's chosen person, but they wanted Saul, so He let him have Saul for a little while. But God gave us Trump. That was His chosen. What God put in his heart were things that were very good for the country. Even if you don't like him, he really didn't do anything that was negative, that hurt you in any way. In fact, you know, everything probably helped most Americans that he had done. So what we're experiencing now is God's testing. He's taking notes. Who's going to complain in this time, or who's going to stand in faith with God's anointed? Because when they came up to the Red Sea after they were delivered, they started complaining against Moses, their leader, and this and that. Not all of them did, but some of them did. So at the right time, the Red Sea is fixing to split. And when it splits, we're going to see which red Republicans are in congressmen and our representatives and governors, which ones are truly on the side of God's anointed and God's agenda right now. Not that I'm saying the Republican agenda is always God's agenda, but right now, if you look at their platform, this is the party that God's favoring at the moment, and whatever needs to be dealt with in that party will be at the proper time. But so the sea's going to split. We're going to see who we need to keep supporting. It's going to reveal many things to us. And also, God dropped in my spirit the story of when Solomon took over the throne after his father David. And the first thing he did was with the advice of some wise counselors, he purged his cabinet full of his father's enemies. He purged them. So what's also taking place is God's purging the people that have been around God's anointed, President Donald Trump. He's going to purge the people that are really his enemies. They're like sheep and wolves in sheep's clothing. Okay, so we're fixing to see the Red Sea split. God's got all this timing worked out. We're going to know who is really on the side of God's anointed. God's testing who's going to complain or who's going to stand in faith. Like when the spies were sent out and they heard the word of the Lord and they heard what God's will was. They all heard the same word, but 2 spies believed and 8 didn't believe because they chose to see with their eyes instead of to see with their eyes of faith. When they said, we can't take these giants, but God said that they could. And Joshua and Caleb were the only 2 that were left from that generation that actually went in because they believed. Okay, so those are the examples, and I encourage you to pray, and not just pray, but to fast during this time period, because God's fixing to do a lot in this month. So once again, this is Michael Murphy. Thanks for listening. Please feel free to share this video. Please hit like if you enjoyed what you heard. I'd really appreciate it. And I'd also like to hear a comment from you. If you liked what you're hearing, or if you're hearing something from God yourself, please comment below, like and subscribe to the channel, and I would greatly appreciate that. So y'all have a great day.